What's up guys, it's your boy Joey here and welcome to my bow and spear PvE and PvP guide. What's up guys, this is the AOE PVE skill setup that I use, which takes advantage of the Javelin Infernos. Basically how this works is just you use Explosive Fury on any mob, stack Ember stacks. Make sure you pump up the mobs you wanted to kill, right? Pull them together and use Javelin Inferno. So what happens is when you use Javelin Inferno on a target that has other targets around it, it bounces, sort of like chain light. It deals a lot of damage, and you can shoot up to 5 times. Here is the skill specialization as follows. Here's the bow skill specialization. Take note, I did not take Flash Wave simply because we can already wipe a large amount of mobs just using Explosive Fury and Javelin Inferno. You can also use Phoenix Barrage to finish off low targets along with Flaming on. Moving forward, this is my bossing PvE setup for Spear Bow. We use Burst Specialization. Specialization looks like this. Basically, against the boss, you wanna use Gale Rush. Take advantage of the initiative hits. When using Gale Rush on a boss, immediately gain the maximum attack speed stats. Then you want to follow up with 2 deadly markers, which goes as follows. 2 deadly markers, and then all is said and done. Use your bow as a pillar. Make sure you buff your party with Sentinel's Bastion. Make sure you take advantage of using Brutal Fury when you have 5 burst stacks. Take note, 2 abilities apply burst stacks. 1, it's your Culling Arc. 2, it's your Cyclonic Fury. So basically, if you see that your target has 5 burst stacks, you can use Brutal Fury. Now, if it's only 4, you might want to use Cyclonic Fury, as it guarantees 5 stacks. At 5 burst stacks, you're going to be able to use Brutal Fury an additional 3 times within 1 second. That is very good damage. Again, you want to open up with 2 deadly markers, or dash into a Bastion, 5 stacks, spam it, do it again, and then finish it off with Slaughtering Slash. Take note, if you are doing bossing, Slaughtering Slash jumps to multiple targets. So if you're only attacking 1 target, which is the boss, it won't jump to multiple targets. It will only hit the same 1 target that you're attacking. And then make sure to use your bow abilities, Strafing, Zephyr's Knock, and Decisive Sniping when your spear cooldowns or spear abilities are on cooldown. So basically, the way this works, like people might be wondering, why would you use Decisive Sniping? It takes so long to cast. When you're using Gale Rush, remember, you can use Gale Rush to give you the attack speed or a very fast Decisive Sniping attack. You can see we just did 40k damage straight up with a heavy attack. And given that if you are in a party with multiple bows, you're going to be able to spam that deadly marker and all of your cooldowns are going to be much faster. Let's take a look at the skill specializations for our bossing PvE spec. Here we're using Culling Arc, all of these abilities, skill specializations, then Brutal Fury as well. Making sure to use that. 10 Sentinel's Bastion, so we can apply heavy attack to all of your party members. This is very important that you keep this up at all times, especially if you're doing dungeons and you're spamming deadly markers with other bows. You're going to have this uptime. The uptime on this ability is going to be very fast. And here for Cyclonic Fury, you want to have Critical Aftermath, which increases your critical damage by 15% for 3 seconds. This is why I tend to use this after Culling Arc, simply because you can increase the critical damage of your Brutal Fury when you use it 3 additional times within 1 second, which is a massive burst of attacks. Slaughtering Slash, we take the Slaughtering Slash to also use the burst stacks when you still have, because remember, Brutal Fury does not consume the burst stacks. Therefore, you can use Slaughtering Slash along with it. And Gale Rush, we have Initiative Blitz, where you use it on a boss, you get the maximum attack speed stacks immediately. This ability also, you can extend the effect duration by additional 1.5 seconds. For the bow skills, we're using Blitz, the demarker, cooldown reduction for Blitz, decisive sniping. We don't need to be using mobility, and then we don't need to be using decisive bombardment because we're only doing single target, and the usual consecutive use for your strafing and your Zephyr Knock. Alright, so now we are here for bow spear in large scale. As you can see, we are using decisive bombardment, Zephyr Knock, strafing, Javelin Inferno, Explosive Fury, Tornado, Flash Wave, Healing Touch, Blessing, Unyielding Sentinel, Gale Rush, and Limit Break. Let's also not forget Distorted Sanctuary. This is why it synergizes well with bow and spear, because since you're running spear, you don't have the dagger, right? You don't have evasion. You cannot stack enough evasion for this setup, so therefore you will stack endurance. Now, with Distorted Sanctuary at level 4, you see you get an additional 57 endurance. So let's take a look at that. So including yourself plus 5 other players, right, that gives you an increase of around 340 endurance. Oh, I think this goes up to 60 endurance if you have it maxed. That's a total of 360 additional endurance, which makes it perfect for this setup, because you are running an endurance build with bow and spear. Combine it with Retaliatory Strike, which dealing damage 3 times with an active skill increases the hit chance of the next active skill within 6 seconds by 790. It stacks only 1 time per skill. Now, mind you, this ability works with strafing, right? So if I use strafing 1 time, I get the Retaliatory Strike proc. Because 1 strafing applies multiple hits, right? It fires 4 arrows in a row. That's considered 4 attacks with 1 skill. So this ability, Retaliatory Strike, is in perfect synergy with both skills. Because strafing, you will always use this ability, regardless, any situation. Especially when you're doing large scale or small scale or whatever. Even in PvE, you're gonna use strafing, and it's gonna proc this ability, Retaliatory Strike. Okay? So you're already getting that skill, the critical hit chance from that. It's massive. 790 level 4. I think it's around 820 at level 5. So if you use multiple strafing, right, you can see it already stacks twice. Like you already get like two stacks for that. You can see. Now if you do multiple strafing attacks, 1, 2, 3, procs on your third, guaranteeing your crit. Please take note that with our build, we don't have a lot of critical hit chance, but because of Retaliatory Strike, it brings us to over 1k already. So you don't need to worry about overstacking on crit, because getting to 1k means you have 50% ready. It's almost as if you're a bow dagger, except you do not have evasion. So for the other passive, we have Nimble Steps. Using a skill that utilizes your location, increases collision and bind CC resistance by 110 for 3 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. This works on skills like dodge. See, procs this, and just dodge, stack up to 3 times. Or if you want to use your ability to get rush or procs, as you can see. 100% synergy on that. It also applies if you use, for example, the mobility aspect of the strafing. You can see it applies when you use strafing. The mobility skill specialization also applies. That's very nice. For this one, this setup, we don't use it. This is ZVZ. For small scale, you could use that. Very nice. Helps you proc more CC resistance. If you combine this at 3 stacks plus your unyielding sentinel, oh my god, you're gonna have 270 plus another 200 at 3 stacks, 230. That's around 700 CC resistance just rocking it 3 times. That's crazy. That's nuts. Like, if you know how to take advantage of this passive, you can literally make yourself almost unCCable. Now, mind you, CC resistance doesn't work the way you think it is, right? Just because you stack a lot of CC resistance doesn't make you immune to all those CCs. It just reduces the chance of them CCing you. Okay? So, just because you stack 1000 collision resistance doesn't mean you won't get collided or sent to the sky up in the air by a tornado. That's not how you should expect it to work. It just reduces the chances of you getting sent or moved or knocked back or knocked down or knocked up. Doesn't mean it's bugged or anything. Just to clarify, CC resistance does work, but it's never, you'll never reach 100%. There's a diminishing return. Okay? So, imposing form, we use this. 10% chance to increase skill damage boost by 110 for 3 seconds upon inflicting damage by using a spear, greatsword, staff, or longbow skill. Take note, guys, take note. Right? I'm hearing that people think that bow spear sucks, there's no synergy. That's not true. Just the fact that a skill passive like imposing form, you get a skill damage boost bonus for using a longbow skill, as it says there, already is proof that there is synergy. Retaliatory strike is also another example that you have good synergy, along with distorted sanctuary, because you're stacking endurance for the build. Alright, so finally we are at the build. We have the build. So as you guys are aware, I am using Tevin's bow. Right? So first off, we use, for the runes, right? We use strength and critical hit damage reduction. Now, why? Why not? Why shield block or why critical hit damage reduction? Why not shield block penetration? Why not attack speed? Isn't attack speed better? Well, in my situation, I am a shot caller, right? I'm a DPS shot caller. So my priority is to survive, right? So I need that critical hit damage reduction along with stacking. Obviously, if with 6 party members, I would get like 360 more endurance. So if we add that on our current endurance, let's say 850, we'll get around 1200 endurance. Right? That's pretty nutty. For the hit, we only have 1.1k, but since we eat the wild quality game steak, we'll get an additional 60 along with more heavy attack, so we can get around 1.2k hit. For this setup, we are running a 50 strength build, 49 dex, 70 wisdom, and 60 perception. Now, this specific build for this setup relies solely on this spear, which is the heroic pole arm of the resistance. So, this spear, for me, is the best in slot spear for bow spear classes. Why is that? Because the stats it gives is the old Tublick staff's stats. The old Tublick staff used to give 20.4% range in 11 dex. And what they did was they removed it from the Tublick staff and planned and placed it on spear. Now, because of this, since I'm running a 7th bow, my range increased to 29.56 meters. Yes, 29.56 meters. And that's without the Carnix user in my party. Now, I'm not saying that all of you guys should, like, this build only works with the 7th bow. It doesn't. You can use this with the Carnix setup too. You might want to change the strength, tone the strength down, because if you're using Carnix, you're going to have more strength and less dex and less perception. See? So it's either that or you run Alon. But then you'd have to change like a lot of stuff. But with Karnik's build, you can definitely hit 50 strength, right? But for my build, this is my setup. 29 meters range. And for Karnik's build, it's probably around 20, 21, 22-ish meters range. So, like, as you can see, I'm gonna go 29 meters. And, yep, there you go. I can stack a player that far. Yes, I can literally snipe them with a bow spear setup. And I can literally hit that with my flashlight. Yes. So, my bow staff build does not have this much range. You only get this much range because of the spear. Because of the spear and the spear alone. That's why I think this is the best in slot spear. Or bow spear. Now, if you're playing spear dagger, that's a different story. You might want to use the shike out so you can get more strength and hit. But this setup specifically like works well with the bow because it increases your range. Now, for those of you wondering, does the range bonus affect the bow? Or does it only affect the spear? It affects both your weapons. So as you can see, right, you come close, right? Within range, 7 meters. Yes, I can auto attack a dummy 7 meters away. Crazy, isn't it? I can also use abilities 7 meters away. And also, it also applies on Javelin Inferno, which is my range of 22 meters. Yes, I can definitely snipe clumps with it. So, for those of you thinking, there's no synergy, it sucks. It's not true. This spear alone gives a lot of synergy for bow users, bow enjoy. Not to mention, I can reach 31 meters if I have a Karnix user in my party. And that's a no-brainer. I will have a healer in my party, a bow wand using Karnix that uses max health on the traits so he can get tankier. And I will get his buff and I will be at 30 meters max range already. That's very nutty. But for our armors, as you can see, we use Heroic Code Resistance. Yes, we're using full range and magic. Heroic Tunic of the Resistance, range and magic insurance, and mana regen. You can also swap this for a swirling robe if you want to go for a full heavy attack build that could bring you to higher heavy attack values, which is very nice for this setup because, mind you, again, as we shown earlier, Unyielding Sentinel does increase your heavy attack. You also have a passive that increases your heavy attack. It's this one when you're taking skill damage, because this is very situational. You have to actually take damage for the prop. So, and it's only like a 5% chance. So this is the one way to guarantee increasing your heavy attack even further. So heavy attack builds with swirling robe, this setup is definitely viable, right? But I chose this because I want the mana regen, I want the hit. You can see we don't have a lot of hit as compared to my bow staff build, right, which has a lot of hit. But for this, we're using full endurance, attack speed, mana regen. I like these gloves. Like some of you might be saying, why don't you use the fighter Drake skin gloves, which gives more range, right? The problem with the bow spear or spear in general is that your lack of mana sustain. So here we have to run mana regen on our traits, mana regen on gloves, mana regen on my pants as well, range and magic endurance and mana regen, and the Shadow Harvester pants also gives mana regen. That's a lot of mana regen. And for this one, range endurance, magic endurance, and then move speed. And there you have it. So pretty much mana regen, mana regen, mana regen. Also mana regen on the king. Relentless Assault. Relentless Assault also gives us an additional mana regen. Chance and bind chance. Very good for us. Weaken chance also applies to your spear skills by the weekend burning. And for our accessories, we use dexterity critical damage reduction. We use the arena necklace, icy necklace of strength. Okay, so we have this synergy. Like again, for my situation, I'm a shot caller. I want to focus on survivability, and you guys have seen how tanky I am when I'm streaming PvP with this setup. Obviously, there is a limit to how tanky you can be. If you get attacked by 20 people, then obviously you would die. But there are certain situations where, for example, in Dark Destroyers, I get the Destroyer. I become literally the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3, right? And then I get a healer. I can 1v20 people because of the tankiness, right? That you get from more defensive from being a destroyer. Same time, this build just stacks up together and it's just OP broken, right? For the bracer, we got the skill for a press bracelet, right? Gives you attack speed and max health. Choose this bracer, speed up our attack speed. As you can see, we have a 0.525 seconds attack speed, right? So if we do striking, you see how fast that is, right? Attack speed does affect your casting time, so the faster your attack speed is, the faster you cast. Basically, the faster you cast, the faster you can get your abilities off, and the more players you can. Going back to the gear, we use the Sapphire Dimensional Band with the Rune Synergy of Strength, max health, and our Band of Universal Power with the max health and perception. We want to balance the strength and perception distribution. Now, this is all very based on your build, right, guys? Obviously, you don't have to copy exactly my setup where I go perception, right? You can go double perception if you lack perception to reach 60. You can go double strength if you lack the strength to reach 50. And so on, basically. For our belt of bloodlust, we're using movement speed and critical damage reduction. Again, tankiness, survival. Now let's take a look at our mastery. For the longbow, once you reach 16, you should get spell break. Gives you skill damage, which is very important. When you reach mastery 20, obviously you want to go for something like Song of Grace. All your CC 7.5, and you also get like +2 perception stats. Massive, bro. Amazing. 2 perception. That's nutty. Get 2 stat points. Never seen that before. But sure. Wonderful. Nice one, Ed. That's a double. For a spear, we're going for Unshakable Mind here. Why is that? Because I like to main hand my spear. Right? When I main hand my spear, I lose the ability to auto attack with my bow. But that's fine. I prefer to have an extra 80 skill damage resistance. You can also go for Unyielding Determination, which also increases your magic melee and rage burst by 100. But overall, I prefer Unshakable Mind, because I can also get cooldown speed and skill damage resistance. And obviously, when I reach 16, I'll be able to have both of these. You can have both skill damage and endurance. That's why you main hand the spear, you get more things. 20 skill level 20, or I'm sorry, mastery level 20. I choose to get attack speed or move speed, but preferably it's better to go for ready charge, get more move speed running around with the spear out. Okay, and it also gives you debuff duration. So now pay attention, guys. Now you have a mastery setup that has a debuff duration stat here that also reduces your debuff duration, right? So if you're stacking debuff duration on all your accessories, this passive, this mastery, really help you. Like the higher you can stack, the better. But right now in tier 1, you can't really stack that much. But in tier 2, there are definitely items that can get you hell of a lot of debuff duration to the point that you can really notice it. That's it for the mastery. And now I can show you guys some gameplay.